touchdown that sealed the game for the Bears. In this game, Stowe's Jake Harrington had 183 yards passing and a touchdown. He did have 86 yards rushing and a touchdown. For Royalton, Nin Piazza was leading the way on the receiving end, 116 yards receiving and a touchdown. Bryce Devendorf, 87 yards rushing. North Royalton improves their record to 4-4. They are 3-2 in the conference. Solon drops to 2-6. They have yet to have a win in 2025 in the conference. So a good game. Stowe really had some fight in this one, able to fight back, but they weren't able to get to where they needed to go. Finally, the SOT featured game had some fireworks in this one. Wadsworth took on Nordonia. Wadsworth started the scoring in the first quarter with touchdowns from Gavin Madigan and Jake McNeil. They went up 13-0 in the fourth quarter. The second quarter of this game, both teams combined to score 49 points. Calix Lemp had touchdown receptions of 35, 27, 72. For Nordonia, Jalen King had a 57-yard touchdown reception. Connor Wapham scored 2 TDs, and Stephen Facolt hit Jameer Davis for a 96-yard touchdown. That all came in the second quarter. At halftime, the score was up 41-21 in this one. The second half belonged, though, to Gavin Madigan. He scored 3 times over runs of 50, 27, and a yard out. Nordonia could not do anything to stop the Grizzlies after that. Little later in the third quarter, this game actually went into a running clock. Wadsworth did a really, really good job on offense, doing what Nordonia's defense was giving them. That Nordonia did a pretty decent job stopping the run in the first half. Gavin Madigan, Cooper Gray. So what did Wadsworth do? They went over the top. They hit Calix Lemp for some deep balls. Jack McNeil had a touchdown. Bryson Hall, who we'll be talking to approximately 8:25 tonight, he had a great game in this one. 13 of 19, 317 yards and 5 touchdowns. Gavin Madigan led the way for the Grizzlies on the ground, 102 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. And Calix Lemp had 5 receptions for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. For Nordonia, Stephen Vacolt was 11 of 27, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Connor Wapham, last week's guest on our show, he had 15 rushing attempts, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 tackles on defense. Carson Fisher, 4 receptions at the tight end position, 56 yards, and he led the Nordonia defense with 6 tackles. Wadsworth still is undefeated on the season. They are 8-0 overall, 5-0 in the conference. Nordonia drops to 6-2. They are 3-2 in the conference. Once again, this game is featured on our YouTube page. You can go back and watch all the highlights. Wadsworth comes away with a 62-21 victory over the Knights. Next week, week 9 is looking fantastic in the Suburban League. Natty Solon will travel to Bexville. A big game here. North Royalton will head to Twinsburg. Nordonia, Hudson in another big game. And then Stowe will travel to Wadsworth in Week 9 action of the Suburban League National Division. That is all for this week. I will toss it over to Sean Duffy to check out all the action from Week 8 in the Suburban League American Division.
Why, thank you, Joshua, and I apologize for my lapse in judgment. I must have mixed up the numbers. It wasn't 26-21. It was 62-21 for the Wadsworth game. That's on me, but we'll move on from that. We'll start off as Aurora gets a dominating 37-0 victory in not only that, a crucial victory in terms of their playoff hopes in Week 8. Aurora running back Xavier Abor did carry the ball 12 times for 166 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Aurora quarterback Ryan Ziegler did have touchdown passes to Luke Bonnet and a rushing touchdown as well. Talmadge, they shot themselves in the foot here. Quarterback Braxton Dente finished 15-29, 199 yards, but 2 crucial interceptions, all leading to points for the Greenmen. Aurora DBs Ryan Sills and Jack Rachel each having an interception. Talmadge falls to 2-6 overall. They are 1-4 in the Suburban League American Division. Aurora improves to 4-4 overall. They are 3-2 in the Suburban League American Division. Next up, we have Revere traveling to take on Barberton, and Revere gets a big 38-21 road victory over Barberton in Week 8. Revere running back James Perry scored 4 times in this game. On the ground, 26 carries, 155 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. He also had an interception return for a touchdown to tally 4 total touchdowns in this game. Revere running back Harrison Drevenker had a rushing touchdown as well. Barberton running backs Jackson Hanlon and Jalen Allen Hosey each had a rushing touchdown for the Magics, but it wasn't enough as they fall 38-21 in this game. Barberton's Trent DeWitt did have a 43-yard interception return for a touchdown on the defensive side of the ball, but it wasn't enough again as Barberton falls to 1-6 overall. They are 1-3 in the Suburban League American Division. Revere is now 6-1 overall. They are 4-1 in the Suburban League American Division. Next up, we have the Copley Indians traveling to take on the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers, and the Copley Indians roll to a 49-0 victory over Cuyahoga Falls. Copley running back Bryce Martin had 2 touchdowns in this game, one of those being a 90-yard kickoff return to open the game, and also a 15-yard touchdown run. Copley quarterback Dane Winiger finished the game 10-14 for 210 yards with 4 touchdown passes. 2 of those passes were caught by wide receiver Andrew McKnight, who finished the game with 112 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. 112 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Jacob Kozowski and Noah Slattery each also catching touchdown passes from Winiger. Copley's defense completely shut out the Black Tigers in this game. They, at one point, never getting across midfield. It was pretty much a dominating victory on Copley's end. Cuyahoga Falls is 1-7 overall. They are 0-5 in the Suburban League American Division. Copley is now 6-2 overall and 7-1 in Suburban League American Division. Finally, Highland, fresh off an unexpected bye week, the Hornets got it back to what they've been doing all season and what they do best, and that's dominating the opponents. With a 58-7 victory in Week 8, Highland running back Casey Miser had a historic night. 10 carries, 125 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing, and 1 touchdown receiving. Those touchdowns contributed to him breaking a Medina County record for total touchdowns in his career with 83. He is also in line with 1 more rushing touchdown to break a career in rushing touchdown. Stay tuned next week. Highland quarterback Grady Gibb had a very good night as well. He went 7 of 10, 115-yard, and 4 touchdown passes. One of those, again, to Miser, 2, and then one to Nick Dubkowski and Jake Weber, each having touchdown receptions in this game. Roosevelt, unfortunately, couldn't get anything going against that Highland defense. It was really 58-0 up until the last part of the fourth quarter when there was backups upon backups in. Roosevelt, unfortunately, with this falls to 4-4. They are 2-3 in the Suburban League American Division. And Highland is now 8-0 and a perfect 5-0 in the Suburban League American Division. Our player of the week for the Suburban League is none other than Highland running back Casey Miser. You break records, you score 5 times, you get yourself a player of the week nom. Again, just to kind of put a pin on what he did: 10 carries, 125 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, breaking the all-time touchdown record in a career for Medina County. Looking ahead to week number 9 in the American Division, the superior division by all accounts, Roosevelt travels to take on Aurora. Barberton will take on Copley. Talmadge will take on Cuyahoga Heights. And the big game here, Highland versus Revere, 2 teams that are – this may decide the Suburban League American Division. Josh, that's all I got. Ed, that's all I got. It was a crazy kind of blowout game. One game was kind of close, but I mean, really, we're talking about Highland. This is Highland's to lose. They got a game coming up against Revere, but I guess, everyone thought maybe they'd be a little rusty having that unexpected week off. They did not, and they showed exactly what they've been doing all year.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same as goes for Wadsworth on the Natty side. They're kind of just taking care of business. Probably a little more challenge for them when you talk about teams like Nordonia, Hudson. But they still took care of business. And for Casey Miser, he could have been a Player of the Week nominee each week, but
Yeah.
I think what put him over the top this week is the fact that he broke a Medina County record. So he's on our poll, which we'll go over a little bit later.
Hey, great work as always with the Suburban League. If this wasn't mentioned last week, I apologize. Congratulations to Medina Highland head coach Mike Gibbons. He's going to be inducted into the Lake Catholic Athletic Hall of Fame. That is his high school alma mater. Again, he will do everything he can to not have the attention on him. But I think it's certainly worth a shout out to Coach Gibbons and Medina and Highland for such a great program that he's continued on from Coach Lombardo. And congratulations to Coach Gibbons. Lake Catholic Athletic Hall of Fame for him. All right, let's shift over to the Greater Cleveland Conference. Noah Jacobson's got us covered here. And take it away, Noah.
All right, thank you, Ed. And we begin Week 8 in the Greater Cleveland Conference with Strongsville taking on the Reign. And a big bounce back for Strongsville after coming off of a loss to Mentor. They really bounced back in a huge way with the 43-14 win against Lorraine. Shout out to Travis Stelzen from the Morning Journal for giving me some stats on the game that he was at on Friday night. Strongsville wide receiver Alex Espe, he had an awesome night for the Mustangs. 11 catches for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he also had a 91-yard opening kickoff touchdown return to open up the game for the Mustangs. Strongsville's Jonathan Ware blocked the punt for a safety in this game. Running back Austin Tadalitsky had 2 touchdowns in this game. Then Strongsville's 2 quarterbacks. Quarterback Jack Hasner had 2 touchdowns, and Nick Caroselli had a touchdown in this game. Strongsville has back-to-back winning records for the first time since 2017-2018. So Coach Strustic, he continues to build the program in year 2, and he's really set the standard for their program. The Reign quarterback David Whitaker passed for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. His 1 touchdown pass came from Brandon Serrano. Lorraine gave up 262 passing yards in this game to Strongsville as the Mustangs would get a 43-14 win. Strongsville boosts to 6-2, 4-1 in the conference. Lorraine drops to 2-6, 1-4 in the conference. Shaker Heights was traveling to Mentor, and the game was played as Mentor continues to do what they've been dominating all season long, as they get a 49-0 win against Shaker Heights. Minor running back at Kent State commit Jackson Farley had 2 touchdowns in this game, and then Jackson Farley also had a halfback pass to Justin Hodge in this game. Minor quarterback Brogan Jones had 3 passing touchdowns in this game. Chase McNuff had a touchdown in this game. Minor wide receiver in Miami commit Justin Hodge had 5 catches for 162 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Logan Barrow had a touchdown in this game. This is the 3rd shutout for Menor's defense in the last 4 games. So Coach Gray's defense continues to dominate every single game. This 3rd shutout in the last 4 games, they're continuing to prove that they are the best team Division 1, Region 1 with a 49-0 win. Menor is still undefeated at 8-0, 5-0 in the conference. Shaker Heights drops to 1-7, 0-5 in the conference. Euclid was traveling to Cleveland Heights on a Saturday afternoon, and Euclid looked pretty good in the first half as they had a 21-6 lead in this game and that. But what a response by Coach Jones's Cleveland Heights Terriers is they held Euclid to 74 yards rushing and 92 yards passing in this game. It was 14-0 Euclid in the first quarter, but Cleveland Heights' 2 quarterbacks. I'll start off with quarterback Asher Wilson. He came into the second quarter and really gave the Tigers a huge momentum. He was 5 of 11 for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then their other quarterback, LaMarcus Greenwood, he was 3 of 12 for 115 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had 82 yards rushing in this game. The Tigers gained 440 yards in total offense, including 269 yards through the air. Wide receiver Sir Gibson, he had a great game. He had 4 catches for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Elijah Harris had 17 carries for 47 yards. Euclid wide receiver and 4-star recruit Keyshawn Telfair had an 81-yard touchdown, and he also did have an 83-yard kick return touchdown in this game. Then Cleveland Heights' defensive back Cyrus Jones had 2 big interceptions. Euclid Marcellus Thompson also had a touchdown in this game as Cleveland Heights with a big 38-23 win to continue their playoff hopes alive in this game. As the Tigers improved to 3-5, 3-2 in the conference, Yuko drops to 3-5, 2-3 in the conference. And then last but not least was my SOT featured game of the week in the Greater Cleveland Conference as Brunswick was taking on the Bees of Medina. This was the Tom Fasco Grinding Classic in this game. Both two teams that have been going at it for a long time in this Medina-Cal rivalry. It was 21-0 Brunswick at halftime thanks to Eli Nichols, who had a 70-yard touchdown, and he broke another one in the second quarter. Then quarterback Sean Barnett had a rushing touchdown in the first quarter as Brunswick looked hot in the first half with a 21-0 lead. And then they continued to respond as Becker Brogan, he did have a touchdown pass to Sidney Lloyd, which cut the deficit to 21-7. But Sean Barnett threw a big touchdown pass to Cohen Issa in this game. And then Brunswick could continue to respond with great defense in that as Sean Barnett would get his second rushing touchdown on the night as Brunswick goes on to with a 35-7 win against Medina. Brunswick improves to 5-3, 4-1 in the conference. Medina drops to 2-6, 1-4 in the conference. I also talked with Coach Cole Carter, quarterback Sean Barnett, and Brunswick running back Eli Nichols, who both those guys had great performances in this game. Quarterback Sean Barnett was 11-14 for 205 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown. Running back Eli Nichols had 12 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Gavin Moore had 4 catches for 102 yards. Wide receiver Cohen Issa had 3 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. Medina quarterback Beckett Brogan was 19-44 for 196 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Sidney Lloyd had 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Then Medina wide receiver Jaden Tagalagad had 8 catches for 69 yards. As Brunswick improves to 5-3, 4-1 in the conference, Medina drops to 2-6, 1-4 in the conference. We look ahead to Week 9 in the GCC. As Brunswick against Cleveland Heights, that's a big game for playoff points in this game. 2 teams that have been on a hot streak in this game. And then Euclid, Medina will be traveling to Euclid in this game. Both teams looking to continue their hopes in the playoffs. Menor will be traveling to Lorraine, and then Shakerites will be traveling to Strongsville, and we'll hand it right back to you.
Hey, great job, Noah. I know the Brunswick Medina game probably didn't go as well as the Bees would have liked, but Brunswick really seems to have found something here with the revamped offense, not relying so much on the arm of Sean Barnett, but relying on the legs of Sean Barnett, along with Eli Nichols. With those two rushing the ball a lot, it's starting to open things up. So when Barnett does pass, some of those longer plays are a little more open than maybe they were earlier in the season. So it's going to be a great game, like you mentioned, between Brunswick and Cleveland Heights for Week 9. So great work there, Noah. All right, and the reason why we're going a little bit fast here, I should probably explain myself here. We are going to try to get to a few regions before Bryson Hall comes on here at 8:25. So we're not going to have as much commentary between the conferences because we got some more real good information coming up here in a little bit. All right, let's shift over to the Southwest Conference. Rob Troutman has the SWC as he always has, and Rob will take it away.
All right, thanks, Ed. Week 8 in the Southwestern Conference. We'll start with Avon. They traveled to Amherst, and they absolutely started hot in this game. They win 34-0 to improve to 7-1, 5-0. Amherst falls to 4-4, 2-3. But Avon in this game scored 20 points in the second quarter, and they led 27-0 at half. Avon had 378 yards of total offense. Quarterback Blake Elder, he had 237 yards and 4 touchdowns. Wide receiver Grant Barr, 8 catches, 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jacob Weatherspoon in the North Carolina commit, 4 catches, 77 yards in this game. And give credit to Avon's defense. They held Amherst to 43 yards of total offense and 3 first downs in this game. Amherst quarterback Cy Christensen, only 12 yards passing and 16 yards rushing in this game. So you got to give the Avon defense credit. They really did a great job. And touchdowns for Avon in this game, 2 by Grant Barr, the wide receiver, running back Adrian Ramirez with 1, and Finn Jordonik with 1. Kicker Jensen Petro in this game, 4 extra points, 2 field goals of 35 and 45 yards. And he did a great job kicking for the Avon Eagles in this game. Again, Avon with a 34-0 win there as they continue their hot streak of dominating teams in the SWC. Now, Olmsted Falls, they traveled to Berea Mid-Park, and this was a surprise for me as Olmsted Falls dominates this game 46-12. Olmsted Falls improves to 5-3, 3-2 in conference as Berea Mid-Park falls to 4-4, 2-3. But it was Olmsted Falls running back Owen Singleton. He recorded his 5th 100-yard rushing performance of the season against Berea Mid-Park. He rushed for a season-high 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. Singleton in this game also surpassed 1,000 yards rushing, becoming the 3rd in the area of running backs to do that, and that's according to from the Morning Journal. Mark Perez did that, and we know him really well. And he has all kinds of stats. He's the stat man of the Morning Journal, so if you need anything, look to him as he had that stat. Olmsted Falls, their offense, they rushed for 436 yards on the ground in this game. Other Olmsted Falls touchdowns, it was Kai Gilbert. He had a touchdown. Cameron Pesh. Owen Radigan had 2 scores and 90 yards in this game. And quarterback Cam Pesh, he also threw for 2 touchdown passes to Logan Connolly, who caught 2 passes for 44 yards. The Bulldogs defense, they forced a fumble, an interception, and multiple turnover on downs in this game while containing Berea Mid-Park. And they had the dual quarterback of Vince Weaver and Dylan Papashek. So again, great win by Olmsted Falls, 46-12. Olmsted Falls a winner there. Elyria at Midview. And Midview's Marcus McMahon. This guy's been playing great all season long. 23 rushes, 165 yards, and 5 touchdowns as Midview led 21-6 at half. They win this game 41-27, and Midview improves to 4-4, 1-4 in conference. Elyria falls to 0-8, 0-5. But both offenses in this game, they did put up similar numbers, but Midview at one point after 3 quarters led 41-6. But it was Elyria not giving up, and you got to give head coach Matt Wilson credit for getting his players to come in the 4th quarter and play. They did outscore Midview 21-0 in that 4th quarter. Midview's quarterback, Shea Williams, he passed for 160 yards. Midview's wide receiver in this game, Zach Wallace, 5 catches, 117 yards. And for Ilyrio's quarterback, Antonio Pry, 205 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 38 yards rushing. And they also went with another quarterback, Amari Ford. He had 68 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in the game. Elyria wide receiver Tiger McCollum, 4 catches for 79 yards, and wide receiver Ja'Cory Bradley, 4 catches, 67 yards. Again, a big win for Midview as they win 41-27. All right, the game of the week, and we'll give you some video highlights here, as it was North Ridgeville traveling to Avon Lake. And this one was a little bit of a surprise as well, but it started with North Ridgeville's kicker, Finley Keller. He had a 25-yard field goal, and it was 3-0 North Ridgeville. But Avon Lake answered right away with a touchdown run by running back Ezra Jones. And then it was kind of a back-and-forth matchup in this game as Cole Miller, quarterback for North Ridgeville, he had a great drive that led North Ridgeville all the way down deep into Avon Lake territory. He had a 19-yard touchdown run that gave the Rangers a 10-3 lead. And it was Cole Miller, the quarterback for North Ridgeville. He had another great game, 100 yards rushing and 1 touchdown, 142 passing yards and a touchdown. As the Rangers offense, they had 361 yards of total offense in the game. Wide receiver Dylan DeShazo had 7 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. And at one point in this game, in the 4th quarter, North Ridgeville led 31-7. And it kind of went downhill for Avon Lake. Aiden Stewart, he did leave the game in the third quarter with a hamstring pull, and he did not return. And you could tell Avon Lake's offense was missing him because he's a centerpiece of that offense. He actually hurt his hamstring while punting the football in this game. He had a solid punt, but pulled his hamstring. He limped off. He did try to go back in, but was unable to go back in as it was hurting him too much in this game. But running back Ezra Jones for Avon Lake, he had a solid game. It was 12 rushes, 45 yards, 1 catch, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Avon Lake quarterback Dawson Tenbrink, he passed for 177 yards and a touchdown. But give credit to the North Ridgeville defense. They held Avon Lake's offense really in check into some tough third and longs really in this game, and Avon Lake couldn't convert. But a very impressive game for North Ridgeville as they continue on. And Cole Miller really is the center of that offense. He is tough to stop. Whether he's running or passing, he throws a really good ball. He's one of those dual-threat quarterbacks that's tough to really stop there. But a great game for North Ridgeville as they win this one 31-17. Ridgeville now 7-1, 4-1 in conference. Avon Lake falls to 3-5. 3-2 in conference. So that was that in the SWC. My Southwestern Conference Mehco Player of the Week goes to Avon kicker Jensen Petro. And I want to first apologize because I gave his last name incorrect, and it's definitely on me for that one for our Player of the Week. So I apologize to him, and we'll make sure we get it right from now on. But he did a great job. 4 extra points, 2 field goals of 45 and 35 yards in this game. And he's what carried Avon. I mean, they scored some touchdowns. He made all his extra points, but when they couldn't get into the end zone, he did a great job kicking. With the 45 and 35 yards are no easy kicks, as we've seen in high school football. So great job by Jensen Petro of Avon, as he's the Mehco SWC Player of the Week. All right, let's take a look at Week 9 in the Southwestern Conference. And we have some good games on tap here. Amherst and North Ridgeville will face off. Avon Lake takes on Avon. Elyria and Berea Mid-Park. And Olmsted Falls travels to Midview. That's a nice rivalry game there, getting back at it. A lot of these teams have multiple rivalries, but that should be a really good game there at Midview. Always fun to watch a game there. So that's the Southwestern Conference for Week 9.
Hey, good job, Rob. You know, a lot of games that started out maybe closer, ended up a little bit further away than the final score indicated. You know, but overall, another solid week of play, and a lot of stuff going on in Division II, Region 6, which we'll get to here pretty quick, which is mostly dominated by Southwestern Conference teams. But we'll get into that here shortly. All right, with that, we'll shift over to the Cleveland West Conference, and all of these games were played on Thursday night. So that's why you got to see a little extra posting about the Cleveland West Conference earlier in the week than you used to. I had to catch up with keep up with the adjusted schedule. Starting off, Bay Village took on North Olmsted, and Bay got off to a 13-0 lead with a 20-yard scoop and score by Jimmy Bainline and a 36-yard touchdown by senior running back Rocco Reditario. North Olmsted's defense stepped up and stifled the Rockets' offense enough to take the lead in the fourth quarter on a 12-yard touchdown pass from Will McPherson to Amir Silmy. And then a 38-yard scoop and score by Counter Verbicki gave North Olmsted the lead, a 14-13 lead, with 5:56 left in the game. And then on the following drive, it was 4th and 10 for Bay. Patrick Cleary, the junior quarterback, threw a 59-yard touchdown pass to Brody Beggs with just under 5 minutes left in the game. He then completed a 2-point conversion to Charlie Rogers for a 21-14 Rockets lead. 2 scrimmage plays later, Rogers on defense recovers a fumble, and then he caught a 32-yard touchdown pass from Cleary, and that makes up the final score. Bay 28, North Olmsted 14. Bay improves to 5-3 overall, 3-2 in the conference, and North Olmsted drops to 2-6 overall, 2-3 in the conference. Both Rocco Hereditario and Amir Silmi finished with over 100 yards rushing for their respective teams. All right, Buckeye took on Normandy, and Buckeye overcame a sluggish 14-0 halftime lead. And it was senior running back Liam Phillips, who's been a monster offensively, defensively, and on special teams the entire season. He scored on runs of 3 and 63 yards en route to a 192-yard rushing night. Senior quarterback Turner Delata threw 2 touchdown passes to senior tight end Derek Snyderburn, covering 25 and 12 yards. And Ryan Wilhelm and Braden Sopko bookended the Buckeye scoring with rushing touchdowns of 1 and 30 yards respectively. The Buckeyes defense putting up a 0 on the Invaders. They held Normandy to just 133 yards of total offense. Normandy's Ray Brown led the Invaders with 68 rushing yards, most of which came on a 63-yard run. But otherwise, there was not a whole lot of room for quarterbacks Jacob Bunyak and Jai Ali. Buckeye wins 42-0. Buckeyes undefeated at 8-0, 5-0 in the conference. Normandy is 1-7, winless in the conference. Lakewood and Valley Forge, and this game was nuts. Valley Forge was trailing Lakewood 28-21 in the first half, and then they just unleashed an offensive barrage. Valley Forge running back Damon Watts rushed for over 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. That included 2 long touchdown runs, each one over 60 yards and one over 70 yards. Senior quarterback Sean Frank threw a touchdown pass to Jeremy Keeger. Keeger also ran for a touchdown. Logan Malinsky had 2 interceptions for the Patriots. For Lakewood, Riley Verteber, Lucas Stoll, and Tyrese Gatling all caught touchdown passes for the Rangers from freshman quarterback Otto Wilhelmi. But add all up, Valley Forge gets a huge 56-34 win. I'll tell you how huge that was when we get to the Division II Region 6 discussion here. But Valley Forge improves to 4-4 overall, 3-2 in the conference. Lakewood falls to 4-4 overall, 2-3 in the conference. And we'll wrap it up with Rocky River taking on Westlake, and it was all Rocky River here. Senior quarterback Ryan Taylor completed 19 of 29 passes for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did get 1 pick. He also rushed 11 times for 96 yards and a touchdown. Juniors Tristan Hughes and Danny Berg made significant mark for the Pirates. Hughes rushed 8 times for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also caught 7 passes for 83 yards and a touch. Danny Berg caught 5 passes for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Pirates also had 5 touchdowns taken off the board for penalties. 5. Teams would love to score 5 touchdowns in a game, let alone get 5 touchdowns taken away from them. Westlake's Mo Abdelhadi, he threw for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns, and both those touchdowns went to William Bierfeld. Rocky River improves to 7-1 overall, 5-0 in the conference. Westlake falls to 2-6 overall, and they remain winless in the conference. All right, with week 9, and this is going to be a doozy here. Lots of computer points on the board here, though. Starting with Bay Village and Lakewood. And then Normandy is going to take on Westlake. Both of those teams are going to be looking for their first conference win. Sneaky good matchup here between North Olmsted and Valley Forge. And the de facto conference championship game as it currently sits, Buckeye will travel to Rocky River this year for the Battle of the CWC. Again, they are both 5-0 in the conference. They are both in Division III, Region 10, and we got a lot to get to when we talk about the different regions here. So that's going to do it for the Cleveland West Conference in Week 8 and what we have going on for Week 9. All right, as we promised here, we're going to take a quick look here at some of the playoff standings, and we'll start first. And again, we'll be utilizing joeidle.com. I believe Rob's going to pop it up on the board for us. So we're going to start as we normally do. We'll go from Division 1 and work our way down. And Division 1, Region 1 has a heavy influence from the Greater Cleveland Conference with a little bit of Southwest Conference. Suburban League Natty. No, actually, no. I think the Natty's out of it now.
Nope.
Wait, hold on a minute.
We got Solon. Solon.
Oh, that's right. They went back to Division One. That's right.
Correct.
So Solon and Normandy, also from CWC, is there. I don't know if Rob's got it up yet or not.
Yeah, I got it up right now for
you
you.
do? Okay, so with that, I think we should start. I mean, Noah, most of the teams have to do with you. So why don't you go over where the Greater Cleveland Conference teams lie in Division One, Region One?
Yeah, definitely. And Menor stands is where it is they locked up a playoff spot, and they're continuing to push the pace for the number 1 seed overall as they got 2 games left in the season. Strongsville, they also clinched a playoff spot, and they look to continue to build on trying to get in, possibly to continue to get a home playoff game like it was last year. Brunswick with a huge win on Friday night, and they're just close of locking in a playoff spot, and that's going to be a big game going up against Cleveland Heights, because Cleveland Heights, that was a huge win going up against Euclid. And that, think about it, they were down 21-6, came back to win that game to keep their playoff hopes alive. And Cleveland Heights, they control their own destiny, and like I mentioned before, that's going to be a huge game for both of those teams. Medina, they're going to need a lot of help in this game. I feel like for Ignatius and John Marshall in that, and Medina, they got a big one against Euclid, and Euclid, they're on the outside of Division II, Region 5, and that. So both of those teams trying to stay in the outside of the playoffs in that. Lorraine also at 2-6, they have a tough matchup going up against Menor in that. So I feel like they're going to need a lot of help from the top in that if they want to get into the 12-team playoffs. For Shaker Heights, they're 1-7. They're definitely going to need a lot of help in Division II, Region 5 in that. So I feel like that's my playoff guru going in, I feel like, for the Greater Cleveland Conference going into Week 9, I feel like.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Menor right now battling with St. Ed's for the number 1 seed, and I should probably explain very briefly how this works. If you're looking on the screen here, the level 1 points represents the teams that the team has defeated. So every team that gets defeated, you get points for that. Division 1 defeats. If you win a Division 1 game, you get 6.5 points. If you win a team against a Division 2 opponent, you get 6 points, and it goes down 0.5 points per division. Level 2 points are who your beaten opponents have defeated. So you'll notice that some teams that if a team is 8-0, 7-1, they're going to have more level 2 points because they've defeated more teams, and presumably those teams have beaten other teams. So the way the system works is you get rewarded for winning games, and you get rewarded for your beaten teams defeating other teams. Quite honestly, it's probably one of the most fair systems that's really out there. So that's how it works. And then there's an average of it which you'll see in the current average as well. So that's a very quick look at a very brief explanation about how the Harvard rankings work that Joe Aitel has taken over here. So let's shift over quickly to so Rob, you got Berea Mid Park and Elyria here in Division 1, Region 1, Berea Mid Park. Not sitting too bad. You look at Berea Mid Park. They clinched a playoff spot with a 4-4 record. But if you look at Berea Mid Park's wins, a good win over Brunswick. That's actually turned out to be a pretty good win for them, because Brunswick now 5-3, and they've rolled off some wins there. You got a good win at Brecksville, Amherst, and Midview, all teams that are 4-4 that have won. So it would have been huge for them to get. They've lost 3 in a row now, has Berea Mid Park, but we'll see if they can get on track against Elyria. Not many points, obviously, there, but you have Avon Lake in the end where they can get some points. So they might drop down a little bit, but they already clinched a playoff spot and is huge. Elyria, obviously, at the bottom there at 0-8. They're at the 18th spot there in Division 1, Region 1. And Josh, Solon, hanging on. They're 13, and they're oddly enough they're still in the running for the number 12 spot here, and they got a couple of big point games coming up.
Yeah, you're right. And This coming week they play Brecksville. Next week they play Wadsworth. But you got to take care of the one that's in front of you. And like you said, Ed, they're still in the mix. It's going to be a rough road. Not many level 1 or level 2 points that they have thus far. But if they can somehow manage to get 2 victories, as a reminder, last year North Royalton went in and played Wadsworth that final game of the regular season and actually came away with a win. And then helped North Royalton secure at least a share of Suburban League Natty title. So anything can happen, especially the last week of the season. But for Solon, they got to take care of business starting this week.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, Solon beat Hudson in Week 10 last year, and was able to sneak into the playoffs.
Point. Yep,
in Division 2, Region 5 as well. So, as you mentioned, those Region 2, those level 2 points are huge. When it gets to finishing up that calculation there. Normandy from the CWC, their only win right now is against Ravenna. They only have 2 wins, so there's not a whole lot of points there. Now they do have a pretty relatively, I would say, a winnable game against Westlake. Valley Forge, again, the game in front of them is Westlake, and I think that's going to be a pretty good game. Valley Forge, you don't know if you're going to get the Valley Forge that could beat Bay, or if you're going to get the Valley Forge that may lose to. Actually, their losses are pretty good losses. I mean, Valley Forge has lost to North Ridgeville, Revere, Rocky River, and Buckeye. They have 3 losses between them. So Valley Forge is certainly there's certainly no slouch there. So lots of good stuff going on, and you can see Joe Idle also has matched out what the max win, max lose, min. If you win, what the maximum is, and what the minimum is if you win out, and what you get if you lose, max and min. And the differences with those are your beaten opponents. So even if you don't win a game, if your beaten opponents win games, you'll still accumulate points. All right, we got a little bit more time. Let's shift over to Division 2, Region 5. And we got a heavy influence here from the Suburban League Natty. Believe maybe a little bit of the American as well. I think this is mostly Natty, though, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe in a little bit of Greater Cleveland Conference here as well. So, Josh, I think the majority. Let's go with you with the Natty here. So, where are some of the teams shaking out right now?
Well, we have sitting at number 5 and number 6, we have Nordonia Hudson. Those 2 teams actually play each other this week, so there could be a switch. They both control their own destiny, so if they win out, I think their seeding's pretty much going to be intact. And looking at the teams in the 7 and 8, remember in Week 1, the first 4, the top 4 rated teams in each region get a bye week. Then teams ranked seeded 5, 6, 7, and 8 will host a first round matchup. So it looks like as of now, Hudson and Nordonia will be hosting playoff games Week 1 if they continue to win out. Now Twinsburg, this is very important for them because they're like right in the middle. They have a lot of level 2 points, but they have a very favorable schedule where they can possibly win out and put them at 7 and 3. Now, would that be enough to put them in that 5, 6, 7, 8 range where they could possibly host a playoff game? That'll be, they're going to need some help to get that, but first they have to take care of business. And then finally in this region from the Natty, Stowe, number 22, on Joe Idle, they're having a rough go of it. I think this year, they weren't able to get much done with Jake Harrington as their quarterback. Just a lot of things left to be desired for that team. Coach Poter's still trying to find that magic formula to start building some consistent winners. So, unfortunately for Stowe, it doesn't look like they're going to be in the playoffs this year. But for the other 3 teams that we mentioned in the Natty, they are in a good spot.
That Nordonia and the Nordonia Hudson game, whoever wins that game is going to get a massive boost in points.
Correct.
And more than likely, as you mentioned, may jump up into that top 4 spot and potentially host a playoff game after a bye week. So you earn that bye in the first round, then you'll host the second round.
True.
I think the winner of that game is going to put themselves in a really good spot because they both have 6 wins. There's a lot of level 2 points coming to the winner of that game. Twinsburg, a couple of 4-4 teams ahead of them, schedule-wise, both at home, but both tough. So, I mean, Coach Salter and the Tigers have the work cut out for them there. You mentioned, I think Noah mentioned Euclid and Shaker Heights. Euclid got their best win right now is against Berea Mid Park. So the more Berea Mid Park can win, and this is assuming Euclid also wins, that's going to help their cause out. And Euclid has a pretty winnable game ahead of them with Medina. Not a whole lot of level 2 points from the Medina end. And then you got Menor afterwards. And I'll be honest though, we've seen some really weird things in the last week of the year. This was probably 10 or 15 years ago. Elyria of all teams defeated Menor in week 10 and shot themselves into the playoffs back in Division I, Region 1 a long time ago, when Menor was in the midst of their major run. So you can't take any team lightly. And I think Noah mentioned Shaker Heights as well. And Sean, Cuyahoga Falls, mathematically eliminated. Not really much to speak of there. I don't believe, as they as this will be the final 2 weeks that we cover Cuyahoga Falls as they shift over to the Metro Athletic Conference. All right, Division II, Region 6. There's a lot going on there, so I think we should skip that. Rob, let's go to Division 4, Region 14, because we can get through that pretty quick, and then we'll have Bryson Hall on. So Division 4, Region 14 has the team that they have from our coverage area is Bay. So right now, Bay Village from the Cleveland West Conference, it's 5-3 overall. They rank number 7 in Division 4, Region 14. They do control their own destiny, according to JoeIdle.com. And they're sitting pretty good. There's a good amount of points between 7 and 13 at the moment. Bay has games against Lakewood and Rocky River, so there's a good amount of points left on the board for them. Lakewood, they're no slouch. They have a really good quarterback and freshman and Otto Wilhelmi. We'll talk about him in a minute, a little bit later when we go through Division 2, Region 6, and then Rocky River. Again, a juggernaut right now. You got to figure Buckeye and Rocky River are probably going to beat up on themselves pretty good in that matchup. So we'll see what happens. See what happens there. But they got a good amount of teams ahead of them too. There's a pretty significant difference between seed 4 and seed 5 right now. So it's going to take a good amount. It's going to take Bay winning out, getting some help, and seeing what else happens from seeds 1 through 4 to possibly jump into that 1 through 4 home game by realm. A local note here: Cloverleaf 6-2 right now. They're from Medina County. Their only 2 losses right now are to Buckeye and a very good undefeated Norton team. So they haven't lost to a team that has a loss. And they have Peninsula Woodridge coming up, and then a real tough one against Streetsboro to wrap up their season. But they're looking pretty good. They're control their own destiny as well in Division 4, Region 14. And I think that's pretty much does it for the local teams here. All right, so what we're doing, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will have Wadsworth quarterback Bryson Hall joining us, the sensational sophomore. And we'll go through the rest of the regions, and then we will talk about the Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week. By the way, I forgot to mention this. The CWC Player of the Week was Sean Frank from Valley Forge. Quite honestly, I couldn't find a whole lot of stats, but they put up 56 points in a game that they had to have. And he had some real good tosses from what I was able to see on film. So, and Damon Watts already won it earlier this year, so I couldn't do it again for him. So Sean Frank gets the victory, gets the nomination for the Cleveland West Conference. All right, this is Sports on Tap's coverage of Week 8 high school football recap presented by Raymond Fountain State Farm Insurance. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Fountain State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.
Welcome back to Sports on Tap. This is the high school football recap show presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance. You got to hear about him and all of our other awesome sponsors out of the break. And stay tuned after our show for another word from our tremendous sponsors. We're waiting to get on Bryson Hall from Wadsworth. In the meantime, we're going to go through. Josh is going to talk about the Mehco Custom Printing player poll. Who the 4 nominees are again, and kind of where we're at with the poll here.
All right, thanks a lot, Ed. Yeah, so this is a special Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week poll because you get an extra 14 hours. Yes, so we made a couple of mistakes. Again, Rob mentioned it earlier, Jensen Petro. We misspelled his name on the poll. We severely apologize for that. Typo, fat fingers, whatever you call it. It's wrong. That's on us.
Or I just can't read. I don't know.
But the good news is we have 295 votes so far, and Jensen is actually leading the way. So the nominees are Casey Miser of Highland, Alex Espay of Strongsville, Sean Frank of Valley Forge, and then Jensen Petro of Avon. And yes, he's leading the way right now, 44.4% of the votes, followed up by Sean Frank with 24.4% of the votes. Casey Miser has 18% of the votes, and then Alex Espay has 13.2%. So get those votes in. You have, again, 14 hours left. The winner will receive an awesome T-shirt courtesy of Mehco Custom Printing, Chick-fil-A gift card, and a State Farm goodie bag from our friend Raymond Felton State Farm, our friends over there. Good stuff. We've actually had some players. We posted today Bryce Martin of Copley. He received his. We put his picture up there. Congrats to him and all of our past winners. And again, we'd like to thank Mehco Custom Printing and Raymond Felton State Farm for supplying those Player of the Week awards that we send out to the players.
Yeah, appreciate them sending those photos as well, because I mean it's definitely cool to see their excitement for getting the goodie bag and everything else like that. So appreciate them doing that, and congratulations to all the winners, and get your votes in. Like you said, you have 14 extra hours, which makes me a little nervous. The SWC has the lead right now. We had it. Let's keep it. The rest of till tomorrow, we'll see what happens. It kind of makes it fun to look at that extra day. So let's see what happens.
Did we have a kicker win last year as well? I know we've had one in the past, but did we have a kicker last year?
Sean Evilsizer.
Yeah, that's right.
There's the obligatory Sean Evilsizer mention, which I thought we retired this year, but nonetheless, I will bring him up as much as I can.
Oh, dude, he was great, man. He was awesome.
Right, cool.
He played
my mistake.
a lot of hockey.
We've had a lot of players win these things, so the years kind of combine. But can we get another kicker? We got to have at least one every year. So hopefully, for the kickers out there, there's still hope.
Avon producing the kickers too. I know Nicholas Vaco. He went to OU and transferred to Wisconsin now, and he's been kicking successfully there. So if you want to see another really good kicker at Avon, Jensen Petro, man, what a great year he's having. So go out and see him. Got a big leg, 45-yard field goal. I mean, you kidding me? Come on, 35 yards, pretty impressive. So still time to vote.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to continue on with our with a look at our the different regions that our coverage area is currently involved with. So we're going to flip back to Division 2, and we'll go to Division 2, Region 6. And there is a heavy influence of SOT in this region across all pretty much everybody here. So we'll start first with if Rob has it up. We can start first. We'll start with the Natty first because Natty's number one right now. So talk about what we got going on in the Natty.
Yeah, all roads right now lead through Wadsworth. I actually went on another site that does kind of the same thing that Joe Idol does. They actually have Wadsworth listed as number 2, but we've always stuck with Joe Idol. We'll stick with him. He has Wadsworth at number 1. As I get my notes out here, excuse me. Wadsworth is at number 1. Brecksville, really good stuff. They're having a good year coming back. They sit at number 10. Royalton as well. They're right now on the outside looking in, but I really think they control their own destiny with this one, fellas. They sit at number 14 right now, or 13 in Joe Idol's. And they have some, they kind of have a tough road. They have a good game this week against Twinsburg, a lot of points on the line for that. And as well, they finish up with Hudson. Can they repeat last year's performance like we mentioned earlier? They defeated Wadsworth in Week 10. They're going to have a tough challenge, again, not only with Twinsburg, but Hudson. But you think if they win both of those games, they're in as well. And that'll be 3 teams from the Natty that will be in the Division 2 Region 6 playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of good stuff going on from the Natty here with North Royalton, and we've seen you mentioned this earlier. North Royalton can get themselves in the playoffs with a couple wins here against some teams that have more wins than them currently. So those level 2 points can end up getting them in. Let's talk to Sean now. Let's break in. We just talked about Wadsworth. And we are joined by none other than Wadsworth quarterback. He is the head of the proverbial snake for the Grizzlies, 8-0 overall. They are 5-0 in the conference. And they got a couple games against Stowe and Solon coming up. We're joined by sophomore quarterback Bryson Hall from Wadsworth. Bryson, how are you doing tonight?
Great, how are you? Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Our bad.
Sorry for. Apparently, I sent the wrong link, so that's.
It's okay.
I'm having a great week.
Yeah, it's been a rough one for us across a lot of things here. But nonetheless, it's not been a rough season or really a rough career for you so far, Bryson. What a great game against Nordonia. The last 2 weeks against Nordonia and Hudson. Talk about your preparation for those 2 weeks, those two really good defenses, and really how you guys were able to succeed against them.
Yes, sir. I mean, we knew they were a very good football team, so our preparation, I mean, the process doesn't change, so we still had to do what we normally do, but we definitely put in the time in the film room, and both of those weeks I felt like we had really good practices, which leads to being able to execute in the games.
Yeah, Bryson, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us Saturday night. And congratulations on a big win against Dordonia. You know, you had a great night. You had 317 yards and 5 touchdowns, and your running back Gavin Madigan continues to put up numbers. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns in the second half in this game. But your wide receiver Caleb Slimp, the Air Force commit, he had a big night for you. Just kind of talk about the connection that you had with him, getting him the ball for 3 touchdowns, and how that really set you up with great momentum in this game.
For sure. I mean, very thankful to have weapons like those guys, Cooper and Gavin in the backfield, and then all the great weapons we have at receiver like Calix and a lot of others. And ultimately, it starts up front with the guys giving me time to throw. But specifically with Calix, though, I feel like we have a good relationship. This offseason, we were able to get a lot of extra work in, and just that timing. And I feel like that leads to being able to execute on Fridays and having great weeks of practice with the guys. And yeah, it really just the timing felt well last Friday, and things were working pretty well for us.
Yeah, Bryson, I kind of want to go back to last week's game. I was at the game against Hudson, and then I was at the game last week, and it seemed like, and this is just from my opinion, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like Nordonia kind of did a good job in that first half, kind of taking away the run. Cooper and Gavin really couldn't break up, had those long runs. So you decided to see over the top. You started hitting balls over the top on their defense. Did you guys make that adjustment during that first half? And then, obviously, then in the second half, you guys went back to that running game, and Gavin kind of took over.
For sure, yeah. Going into the week, I mean, you never know what a team's going to come out in, but from your film preparation, you can have a good idea of what you're going to get. So we kind of had an idea of some of the shots we were going to be able to take before the game, but coming out and just seeing that that's what they were in, we knew that we were going to be able to do that. And we kind of had a feeling like definitely against Hudson, our run game was working very well. Cooper and Gavin were pounding the ball down there, and so we had an idea that we were going to be able to air it out a little bit the next week.
Bryson, looking over Josh's highlight video and his breakdown of really these last 2 games, it seems as though, especially for you being a sophomore, that the game's kind of coming to you gradually, slowing down a little bit, do you find that that's happening, especially in a game like last week where, it was rough going in the first half and then you guys just set the world on fire in the second half? Did you find it, things were just kind of clicking and the game was slowing down a bit, or were you still reading and reacting to some things that Nordonia was doing?
For sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's huge to just stay in your process. That's definitely a big thing for our team. I feel like it's something that we reiterate a lot. So, yeah, we were. I felt like we were still just going through our reads like as normal, staying true to the progression, and just taking what the defense is giving us.
Yeah, Bryson, congratulations on another. I mean, what a great season you're having, and you could tell Coach Todd made sure this offense was comfortable for you. What's it like as a sophomore? Obviously, your freshman season, and going through the motions and being a sophomore quarterback at Wadsworth, it doesn't happen all the time. What's it like for you, going into such a big school and a big program that has a lot of success, being the main guy and the quarterback there? Because I got to imagine, Coach Todd said just relax and has you understanding this offense where you're comfortable and the pressure isn't as much as one might think.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, I'm definitely very thankful and blessed to be playing for such a great football team surrounded with great teammates and great coaches. So, I just feel like with preparation, I mean, there's nothing that you can't do. I mean, you just got to trust the process and believe in yourself. So yeah, it's good. I mean, like I said, we have amazing coaches that make sure we get prepared, and then my teammates are great teammates, and they always make sure that they're pushing me to the best, and I do my best to try to push them to their best and keep a higher standard.
Absolutely.
We're talking with sophomore quarterback from Wadsworth, Bryson Hall. You guys have run through this the Suburban League pretty efficiently here. Talk about the defense. How good of as a sophomore quarterback, really a senior quarterback would love to have your defense too. So talk a little bit about the defense and how they help you out.
It's hard to say enough about our defense. I feel like they're playing amazing, and I love how violent they are. I mean, yeah, and it's nice. I feel like they do a great job of stopping the pass and the run, but ultimately it comes down to being violent, and our defense is very violent, I feel like.
What I'm hearing is you're lucky you don't play against them.
I enjoy competing against them during the week.
I'm sure they're violent. I'm sure they're definitely violent against you with the red jersey on. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Coach Todd's a Mount Union guy. You don't touch quarterbacks in Mount Union, so I think you're probably good to go there.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Bryson, I wanted to kind of I know you're in the mix of the season. You got a big game coming up this week, but
sure.
If you if you could take a moment back and just from your freshman year to your sophomore year, what's the biggest difference that you've noticed thus far? Is it just how Sean mentioned, how easy the game comes, the preparation is? Now you are really getting into it. You've had that full season of varsity under your belt. Just what's the main difference, if there is any, between your freshman year and sophomore year?
Yeah, that's a good question. To be honest, it doesn't feel too different to me. I feel like the preparation's the same, the work's the same. I honestly it feels the same. I would say probably one of the differences I can think of is just I feel like I have a better idea of what I'm seeing this year based off of what I saw last year. So that can definitely help, so that when I'm in the game, maybe it's something that I recognize or something that I feel like I've seen before. So that's probably the biggest thing I would say.
Nice. And one last thing before we get it out of here, we've seen on the Twitter, on the X, that you've been taking some college visits. That's a pretty big deal for any high school athlete. Can you just kind of talk about how that process is going for you? How enjoyable is that?
Yes, sir. I'm definitely blessed and thankful for the opportunities that I've had so far, and it's been good. I've been able to take some game day visits this fall so far, and some coaches I've been in communication with some coaches, so it's been good. And ultimately, it comes down to high school football, though. So I need to make sure that I just stay focused and never too high, never too low, and just keep working.
It doesn't get any better than that, Bryson. And you guys have a great thing going on so far, and we want to thank you for your time tonight. And we look forward to seeing how you finish up the regular season and how you perform in the playoffs. As Wadsworth will host Stone Monroe Falls in their final regular season home game. Although I think we're pretty sure they're going to have at least one home game in the playoffs coming up here soon. So it's a great job so far, Bryson. And we look forward to following you along as the season progresses.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys very much for your time.
Thanks Bryson. Hey, good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
That is Wadsworth quarterback Bryson Hall, a sensational sophomore, really, really great kid, real grounded. You can tell that, you see the articles in the Gazette, which are very well written, as we've talked about. His teammates are very, very effusive in their praise for him. Multiple times you hear that he's a 10th grader, but he doesn't carry himself like a 10th grader, Josh.
No, you are exactly right. And just being there actually the last two games, you could see it. He's got command of the offense. You can tell that the coaches put a lot on him. But like I mentioned last week, Wadsworth really doesn't do anything totally special, but what they do is everything really, 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 really good. They are proficient. They pretty much excel at every aspect. You can tell they're well prepared. They practice well. And the coaching staff has them performing on a very, very high level. And Bryson's one of the key cogs in that. And they have the ability to not only beat you on the defensive end. Ed, great question by bringing up the defense. They are a dominant defense, but on the offensive end, they can beat you in numerous ways, running the ball. Cooper Gray, Gavin Madigan. But as last week noted, Bryson Hall can beat you over the top with his receivers, his weapons that he has out there, and he does have command. He's on the sidelines, coaching up his team, going over everything with the coaches. He's right there. So he's only a sophomore, but he's aged.
Crazy.
He's older, well beyond his years for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's only a sophomore. I mean, especially at a place like Wadsworth, who has that success year in and year out, to believe in a sophomore to run at quarterback is pretty impressive. And you can tell, I mean, they're a well-oiled machine right now. They have weapons, they have a good offensive line, and they're pretty much rolling in the Suburban League.
No doubt about that, and they're well on their way. According to Joe Idle, they've already clinched the top 8, so they have at least one home game coming to them. It's just a matter of what round that's going to be in. As we were before, we're just about ready to kick it over to Sean, because he's got one of the other teams that is just on an absolute roll right now. So talk about where Highland's at so far in Division II, Region 6, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, Highland right now is listed as number 3 in Division II, Region 6, and all I got to say is if they remain at 3, I pity whoever they have to play coming out of that bye, because Highland's a dangerous team, but I think they're more dangerous when they're underestimated. Highland's done, Josh, you mentioned this about Wadsworth. They don't blow you away running the ball. They're not one-dimensional. They're multifaceted. They can beat you throwing the ball. They can beat you running the ball. They can beat you in the special teams, and they can beat you on defense. And Highland, I think, if ever there was a year that Highland is poised to make a deep run in these playoffs and finally get off that schneid when it comes to Avon, I got to say I think it's this year. No matter where they end up, second, third, first, I don't know if they have – quite honestly, I don't know if they're going to be able to get up to that top 1 or 2 simply because of the way that the Suburban League American is right now. There's just not a lot of points there for the next 2 weeks. Revere may be their best shot at points, but again, it's not a big bushel of points they're going to get. If Avon takes care of business against Avon Lake and does what they do in week 10, they're probably going to remain in that top 2 slot, and as rightfully they should. They haven't lost in the state of Ohio in 3 years. So, I mean, again, Wadsworth has the benefit of having a great record against a very good, despite our jokes, Josh, a very good national division in Suburban League. There's just a lot of, parity there. But I just say, if you were to talk to Coach Todd or Coach Elder or any other of these coaches about who's the team they don't want to face in the playoffs outside of an Avon or Wadsworth, Highland's right up there too, because I don't see Highland really being tested right now. And, at least into the semifinals, I would say where they're going to end up matching up against a Wadsworth or an Avon. You'd like it to break down to where they maybe have to beat a Wadsworth team to get into play Avon. But, I mean, those are the matchups that I think are going to be great in Division II, Region 6. The other team out of the American is the Barberton Magics, and let's be honest, they're all but mathematically eliminated at this point. They are, 1 in the season. Again, they're really having a tough time this year. As we talked about last year, even fielding a team to play. And, you just feel bad because, Barberton has such a great history, not only in this region, but just in the Suburban League. And we've talked about them year after year. It's just unfortunate this year being that year. But again, from an American standpoint, holding the flag in Division II, Region 6 for the American division is Highland. And I got a feeling they're going to make a deep run into these playoffs. And I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at Avon versus Highland round 4 this year. Going in. But again, that Wadsworth team, Josh mentioned it, is really good. And those are 3 colossal teams. and then you would throw in a Toledo Central Catholic or something like that coming out of the West. I mean, that's a lot of fun football right there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in Division Two, Region 6, Sean, as you mentioned here, and Highland does get credit for the victory for a forfeit over Barberton, which is why their divisor is 99. I didn't think that was and that must have been a later ruling, but honestly, it's good for Highland because I think we all want to know what had happened if that game actually happened. So with I'll go through the Cleveland West Conference because Rob's got a lot to talk about here. Right now, Parma Heights Valley Forge, their big victory over Lakewood propelled them into the 8th spot right now, and they got a pretty comfortable lead right now. Well, I wouldn't say pretty comfortable, but they have a good amount of points over the 12-13 spot there, and they got some points on the board coming up with North Olmsted and Normandy. They're not going to get a whole lot of level 2 points there, but they're going to need a team like North Royalton to win some games. If Bay continues to win, that's going to help them out a lot as well. So that Bay victory in Lakewood, those last 2 wins really gave Valley Forge a notch up there. And again, their 2 losses, or their 3 losses right now. 3 of their losses are to 1-loss teams. The other one is to Buckeye. So they're playing a really good football right now. Lakewood is they need a lot of help here. They got Bay and Buckeye coming up, so lots of level 2 points ahead of them there. North Olmsted, they're really on the precipice of being eliminated. Westlake is already eliminated, unfortunately for them. So Rob, a lot of Division 2, a lot of Southwest Conference here. So talk about where they're at in Division 2, Region 6.
Yeah, right now you can tell Avon in the number 2 spot. Their one loss coming when they traveled to Florida, but they have pretty much run roughshod through their schedule. So they have a lot of points there, 2 points, but in level 2 points, 178 there. But Avon at that number 2 spot, I'm guessing they'll probably be in the top 3. They beat North Ridgeville, and that's North Ridgeville's one loss there, as they've had a heck of a season. North Ridgeville has, and they continue on. As they have a good game against Amherst, which Amherst is a little bit lower and looking to they're going to have to get some wins. They're in the 15th spot. A lot of 4-4 teams here are going to be fighting to try to make it in, as like we talked, the top 12 teams get in. Olmsted falls right in the number 5. They're at 5-3. They're starting to run and get some good games coming in with some big wins. Berea Mid-Park was a big win for them. They're starting to win some games here and starting to get Owen Singleton on track and healthy as they're number 5. You go down next, go all the way to 15 where it's Amherst. They have a big game against North Ridgeville here in the next week. They also finish out against Midview. So 2 winnable games. North Ridgeville's playing at a pretty high level. They came off a big win against Avon Lake. We just finished that, but Midview, they can get some points there. So gotta win both of those, I would say. Avon Lake at 3-5. Dealing with some injuries right now. They're in the 18th spot. Not mathematically eliminated, but you would think they have to win out to even have any kind of a chance. They face Avon and Berea Mid-Park to end their season. Avon's going to be a tough one as they travel there. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And what we could talk about, Midview's actually in a different region, but they're going to be matched up with Olmsted Falls coming up. And that's going to be an important game for them, as they also are going to need to win out, I think, to have a shot to get in the playoffs. But a lot here in Division II, Region 6. We'll see if anybody moves up or down. There's still a chance for that to happen. But you look at the top 3, like Sean and we have talked. I mean, Wadsworth, Avon, and Highland, I mean, those guys are beasts here in Division II, Region 6. If any of those teams match up, that's going to be a fun one. We'll see what happens, though. You never know in the playoffs what can happen with different matchups, and that's why they play the game. So we'll see what happens here in Division II, Region 6.
There's a lot to break down there, which we could probably get to a little bit more next week as we're really wrapping up the regular season here. Let's shift over to Division III, Region 9 real quick. There's a few teams in there. from the American Conference of the Suburban League. So Sean can talk about those real quick.
Yeah, it's really Aurora is the team you talk about here, as Division 3 Region 9 also hosts
Yeah, Kent and Talmadge, it looks like.
Talmadge. I'm sorry. Yes, they played each other. Whereas Talmadge is number 23 in this, again, kind of in that same realm as Barberton, all but mathematically eliminated. But the interesting one that I like to follow here, and I mentioned it last week, was Aurora. They need to win, but they also need a lot of help to get up into that into the opportunity to make the playoffs. And again, they have to take care of what's in front of them, and then again have to get help. And I don't necessarily think that's something that they can count on, is getting that help, because the teams above them are teams that are really forming into to winning teams. And I think if you look at I don't have it up in front of me, but if you look at the level 2 points that they're getting, those teams above them, I think it's one of those situations where they would have to essentially lose. Every team above them would have to lose every game, and Aurora would have to win every game. And I don't necessarily think that's something that's realistic. Can happen, but again, you like the fight out of Aurora in Division 3 Region 9. You like the fight. You think they got an opportunity, but again, they just couldn't put it all together this year. And you're on mute, Ed.
Yeah, no, that was on purpose. Sorry.
But yeah, I personally think that Aurora is a team that could sneak in, but again, it's just the stars are going to have to align for them, and it's not something I think that they can conceivably count on at this point in time, and where they're at in the season and where they're at realistically. I think they're starting to get better as the season wore on, but I just don't see it being something that's going to be favorable to them.
And you mentioned that too. I mean, right behind them is Gilmore Academy, and they have a very winnable game against a 6-1 Rhodes team, and then they play Maple Heights. So, I mean, you got teams behind them. That's probably the biggest threat behind them is Gilmore. If they get those 2 wins, that's going to jump them up over. That'll more than likely leapfrog them over Aurora, even if Aurora wins out. And potentially Lutheran East and Brush. Now, Maple Heights is the team that's above all of them, and Gilmore plays Maple Heights in Week 10. So there's going to be there's a lot of on the back end some playoff considerations there. All right, let's shift over to Division 3 Region 10, and that's going to wrap up our coverage tonight. Now, you have I'll talk about my team last because I'm number 1 in my in my region. Finally, it doesn't happen very often in the Cleveland West Conference, so I will go last. Revere and Copley, Sean, they're on a collision course here in Week 10. There's gonna be a lot of computer points on the board there.
Yeah, I think if looking ahead to Week 10, I think both those teams will lock up, definitely a playoff spot. I don't necessarily think Copley is in a position to get that bye. I think Revere will be playing for the opportunity for the bye. Whereas I don't think even a win over Revere gets them up there. They may just be in that 5th position with that win. Again, just not sure if it's something attainable for Copley. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, Copley has that second loss, those 2 losses, versus Revere being that 1-loss team going in. But again, Revere has to play Highland this week. So, this could all be thrown out the window. I like both of these teams. I think both of these teams are fun to watch, fun to follow. Josh got an opportunity to see Copley this year, and they can throw the ball all around the yard. Revere has been a team that got kicked in the teeth, but has responded. We'll see how they go against a team like Highland. But again, I think both these teams have the potential to be in your semifinals of this division going forward. And it would be very interesting to see a Copley versus a Buckeye, because I think those are 2 contrasting styles of play. Buckeye is very much run first, whereas Copley has the ability to win on rushing the ball and throwing the ball as well. So I would love to see that matchup. I just think it's going to be one of those where I think Copley has to get a little lucky with where they end up. And, obviously they get to host a playoff game in week 1, and we'll see how that works out for them. And Revere, again, is a team that I think is rounding into a team where they're going to be not a fun team to play come playoff time.
Agreed. And we'll see. The winner of the Revere Copley game will have the proverbial positioning there, whether that is a potential top 4, definitely a top 8, and that might force the other team, while they'll make the playoffs, to potentially have to go on the road in week 1 of the playoffs. Rob, Midview hanging out at number 13. They're not too far. I mean, they're almost 2 full points behind Defiance at number 13, but they got some points ahead of them with a few games.
Yeah, I think the big game is this Friday night against Olmsted Falls. I mean, there's some points there to be had. They have Amherst to end the season, so points there as well. I think, to play it safe, they need to win those 2 games, and then, you might need a little help to get in. I mean, they're at the 13th spot. That's why, there's still possibility. They're going to have to really play well. The Olmsted Falls looking pretty good right now, especially with some of their wins. So it's going to be fun to see what Midview can do. Let's see what Defiance, they play a 7-1 Bath team and a 2-6 Salina. So I think Salina. Yeah,
sorry, that's how you pronounce it.
Okay, thank you, Sean. But that should be there's still a chance for Midview to get in. I feel like if they win both games, they'll get a decent amount of points, and their chances will be a lot better for them if they can do that. So a big game Friday night versus Olmsted Falls at home. So we'll see what happens with Midview there in the 13th spot here. And this is a really tough region. I mean, a lot of really good teams, especially with Buckeye at the top there.
No doubt. And with Midview, as you mentioned, they'll need to win, and they're going to need some help, not only from the teams that they beat, but also from some teams around, above them and below them, as needed. The two big CWC teams currently ranked 1 and 5 respectively. Buckeye, number 1, almost a runaway at this point, and Rocky River, number 5. Lots of computer points on the board coming up this week at Rocky River. Buckeyes being buoyed right now with a 6-2 Cloverleaf team that keeps winning games. So I mean, those non-conference games that are against good opponents, that significantly increases your chances of getting those level 2 points. A win against Amherst as well. Columbian, generally a pretty good team, but they're 4-4 so far this year. And then conference play is a little rough because all teams play each other at that point, and you just need the right combination of teams to win to get those extra level 2 points. For Rocky River, their level 2 points are lacking a little bit. Their best wins right now are Valley Forge and Lakewood, and they're both 4-4. But there's a lot of points on the board ahead of them with an 8-0 Buckeye, and they play Bay at 5-3. So there's a good amount of points that Rocky River has ahead of them. Their loss to Uniontown Lake, that would have gotten them a boatload of points if they were able to win that game. But you look at this region overall, all roads lead to Toledo Central Catholic, and quite honestly, it's not even close. They could be seated as long as they get in, they're the favorite. And I say that as a big fan of Buckeye, but we all know the reality of the situation. It would be the same thing for St. Ignatius. If they find a way to sneak into Division I, Region 1, I'm not going to say they're the favorite, but chances are they'll do some damage if they get the right opponent. Toledo Central Catholic's on another level, which they have been for years. And they play an extremely tough schedule. Those four losses are just super good teams outside of the state. Yeah, I had to highlight that. So Division III, Region 10, while Buckeye is up top, Toledo Central Catholic's lurking at some point, and we'll see how it shakes out there. All right, so I think that gets us through all of our regions, if I'm not mistaken. So great job, guys. Where are we going for Week 9?
All right.
Well, I'll start us off, guys. in that. So so a little bit this week in that. I'm gonna switch gears here from the Greater Cleveland Conference to the Cleveland West Conference this week.
Whoa.
No, little bit is a surprise one.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. It just came out. But no, I thought this Cleveland West Conference battle should be a pretty good one. And I will be heading to Byers Field, where the North Olmsted Eagles, hanging on the outside by a thread, looking to try and to hopefully get a lot of help to try and get into the playoffs, taking on a Valley Forge Patriots team that is 4-4, sitting in a pretty good position at 4-4, looking to continue on as they push for that top 8 home seed. So I'm looking forward to covering this battle in the Cleveland West Conference. And not only do I have one, but we have 2 coming up this week. So I guess we'll find out to see what it is.
Well, I'll go next since we got a good game. We got a good game going on in the Natty. We mentioned it multiple times. A lot of playoff points on the line. I'm going to be traveling to Twinsburg as North Royalton also travels to Twinsburg. The Bears versus the Tigers is going to be a great game in the Natty. Looking forward to seeing how if Coach Shelter's team can stop the running game of the Bears, although Nolan Klingbeil's been playing pretty well as of late. But we'll see what I believe week 1 player of the week winner, Dylan Fantone, see what he has in store for North Royalton.
Nice. All right, I guess I'll go. Sean Duffy looks like he's just reminiscing.
Saved the best for last, Sean. All right, we'll go.
All right, I will head to Midview, where Midview takes on Olmsted Falls. And a big game for Midview that they've really got to win, and some good points for Olmsted Falls as they're at the number 5 in Division II Region 6 there. So Olmsted Falls takes on Midview. That should be a really good game and a big one for Midview to try to win to improve their chances on getting into the playoffs.
All right. Well, that leaves your
birthday boy.
Yours truly, yeah. The man, the myth, the legend.
25 years old today. Unbelievable.
Yes. Bless your heart, Rob.
55? Wow, you look pretty good.
Yeah, I know, right? Fantastic. No, I am interested, and again, I'm fascinated by this matchup because I think it's the marquee matchup of the week. I think it's the best game of the week, so why not send your best field reporter to it? So I will be traveling to Rocky River to watch the Buckeye Bucks take on the Rocky River Pirates. I'm going to be crazy here. I'm thinking this is going to be a low-scoring affair. I think this is going to be a game. It's going to be a rock fight in a phone booth. I think it's going to be defense, but it's going to be a fun one, and I'm excited to go out there. I love going out to Rocky River. It's a fun place to play, and I think I like watching Buckeye and these two teams square up against each other for what Ed described as the de facto Cleveland West Conference title.
Fantastic. There's been some tremendous battles between Buckeye and Rocky River from the Great Lakes Conference days. Ben Barnes against the Beebe brothers specifically. Those guys were some wars back then. So this will be another chapter in that rivalry there. So just to recap.
Before we move on, did anyone else catch that? And I caught it too. Did Sean just call himself the best field reporter that we have?
I believe he did.
That one, I have at it.
This is according to him.
No, and again,
I just wanted to get confirmation because no one acknowledged that at all, which is probably the right
I usually just
the
pretend
right
I
thing to
don't
do.
hear it. But
I just wanted to make sure I'm not hearing things because.
No. I
Sean getting up there in his old age, maybe becoming a little senile.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
A man of my age, yes. I recognize that it may be a stretch, and I get that, but I appreciate Josh for. Honestly, I was hoping you were all paying attention when I'm talking. Thank you, Josh, for paying attention when I talk. It's nice.
Unfortunately, I do pay attention. It's a gift and a curse.
I'm like Taylor Swift. I drop Easter eggs just to make sure you all are paying attention.
Well, there's a combination that I didn't think we would be thinking about today.
Or have on the show.
We will have Noah going to North Olmsted and Valley Forge. Josh will be at North Royalton versus Twinsburg. Rob will have Olmsted Falls versus Midview, and Sean will have the CWC championship game between Buckeye and Rocky River. All right, we want to thank Bryson Hall for joining us tonight. Tremendous interview. So make sure you check out this show, which will be archived on YouTube. And chances are there'll be some quotes that Josh is going to do the little AI thing on to get out there on the TikToks and whatnot.
It's the wave of the future, Ed. Let's get on it.
You're exactly
Jump
right.
on it.
I want to. I'll do an obligatory shout out to Patriot in the Northern Virginia area. They snapped a 48-game winning streak by Battlefield. Battlefield over 48 straight regular season games until this past Friday. They get a 14-7 victory over Battlefield to snap that winning streak. Now, oddly enough, Patriot beat Battlefield in the playoffs last year, which was considered an upset, I believe. So not only did they get them in the playoffs last year, they snapped their regular season winning streak this year. So congratulations to Jack Fowler and the Patriot for getting that win. All right, tremendous work as always, guys. We want to thank our sponsors. Stick around for a word from them. We want to thank JoeIdle.com for providing us some tremendous content tonight, as always. The unofficial, official rankings of the high school football playoffs. And again, we want to thank Bryson Hall for joining us from Wadsworth. For Rob Troutman, Sean Duffy, Noah Jacobson, and Josh Sheffy, my name is Ed Dick. This has been the High School Football Recap Show for Week 8, presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance. This is Sports on Tap, and we'll see you on the other side.
Go vote on the poll. You have 13 and a half hours left. Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week. Go ahead. See you on Twitter.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.